So this is a 89 GMC 350. Came out of a 3/4 ton, and I've got the pulley set up the same as the original, which is an 87. This truck. So I've got the rod cap off. I've got both heater hoses are off, and the lower hose down there is off. The upper red hose is off. If you can still run your engine, if it still starts, then let it run for a little while, for maybe a minute or so, just so that the rest of the water will come out of the block. You don't want any water in that block. And there's a little bit more you see coming out of the block now. But before you do anything, take off the negative cable off the battery. I've loosened off the rod cradle, and I'm just going to take it out to get it out of my way here. Knowing me, I would just sit on it and break it. Just going to tie that out of the way, make sure that it doesn't tip down. So the next thing I do is take some of the wiring off that's going to get in the way. And you got to get right in behind this rubber, in between the throttle body and the rubber, and just try and push outward with it. So what I've done so far is taken the alternator bracket off of here. So I've got my timing mark on the balancer down there somewhat lined up with number 1. And I'm going to start removing the distributor out of there. But I want to take the wires off first. I've already marked my number 1, which is right there. And I'm just going to mark that with black marker on the end there, just so I remember which is number 1. And then I'm going to do in clockwise order. That's the firing order. And if you don't know what it is, it's right there. So if this is number 1, then going clockwise in firing order, this should be number 8. So you can see this is a mud truck. I've got all kinds of dirt up there on the top. And that cap was tie wrapped on, the bolt twisted off inside there. I'm going to see if I can fix that while I've got it off. So I've undid the one bolt on this side over here, and that's a 7/32 socket. And I'll undo my little tie wrap job there. Now this rotor will be facing either number 1 or number 6. Alright. facing number 1. Make a little mental note of where that is. It's facing just behind, on this one anyway, it's facing just behind the coil wire. Yours may be different. Now I just have to undo the wires that go to the distributor. There should be one plug in the back coming from the harness, and then this left one here. And then down right underneath the distributor there's that 9/16 bolt down there, well 3/8 bolt, 9/16 head, and you need to take that out to get that little clamp off of there. Another thing before you pull the distributor out is, well, number 1 is facing in this direction right now, so I made a little black mark right there just as a reference point as to where this thing is facing on this rotor, because this is going to spin and you want it facing in the same direction. So I'll just move all the wiring out of the way and take that off there and pull it straight out. You need to take this little clip off that holds the throttle cable on, and I put it back on there so that it doesn't get lost. I noticed the injector on the left side here wasn't spraying too well, so I'm going to change the throttle bodies while I'm at it. Again, I've already got all the wires off of there, and there's a vacuum line in the back. That comes from here, and there's a few vacuum lines in the front. And then there's the 2 fuel lines in the back there that have to be taken off. And if you don't have a set of line wrenches, I highly recommend them. And you're going to need a 3/4 wrench. Best to hold the fitting that screws into the throttle body, and then loosen the line. The line is a 5/8. Now you're going to lose some gas there. And there's 3 bolts that hold that on. 1/2 inch socket. And unless you plan on replacing the gasket, be careful not to rip it on the way up. And then the speedometer cable's just got 2 tabs there. Push them in and push it out. And generally what I'll do is take this temperature sender out to keep it from getting damaged. It's right in the line of this bolt right here when you're trying to torque it on. So I've taken this whole bracket off here, and the hose that goes to there, the coil, the line that was here,
Now I need to take this bracket off. I've got a piece of wire there, and just all the wires are pulled away from there. This way nothing's going to get caught when we put it back together. And I have to take that off there yet too. It's going to interfere with taking it off and putting it back on. And it wouldn't hurt to take one valve cover off yet, since that head's coming off.
I've got the valve cover off and this fitting is off.
Just grabbed a couple of caps. I'm going to try and plug off that hole. Don't want any dirt getting down in there. The blue one will do it. I don't recommend removing them all without loosening them up first. I know I did one back here already, which I shouldn't have. And basically do it in a reverse order of the way that you torque them on. It doesn't have to be exactly in reverse order, but usually you do the front two on one side. And then the back two. And that one's out. Just crack them loose a little bit. And then go opposite again. There, once they're all cracked loose, then you can take them out.
Just remember, the ones with the brackets, they've got longer bolts.
This thing was just recently put together, so it should come off pretty easy.
If not, you have to get a little pry bar up underneath the corners here.
A little bit of antifreeze left.